everybody, welcome back to the Giant Beastcast. We're doing it not live, which feels weird now because we've done it live for so long, and now we're back to doing it not live, but we're still doing it video. The whole thing feels very uncomfortable. I'm off my game here. I am a mess. No, I'm not. I'm fine.
True.
I'm fine.
It's true.
It's December. Well, we're recording it on Tuesday, just so you know. But when this goes up, it'll be the Thursday, the 24th, Christmas Eve. Or if you're listening to this on Friday, it would be December 25th, Christmas Day, and we get the added bonus of next Friday being New Year's Day. So I think we're gonna put the next one up next week on Friday for real to hit that New Year's Day. We still haven't figured out exactly schedules to record next week. We're trying to figure all that stuff out. People have busy schedules, and we try not to miss a week. So thank you guys
busy
for being
schedule,
flexible.
just staying home all day and not going out anywhere. Super busy schedule.
So watch out. I'm joined by Alex Navarro.
Yes, you are. Dutifully. Hello. Alex Navarro reporting for duty yet again.
Hi, Alex Navarro. Episode 292, I should say. That's we're there. We're closing on 300. Jeff Bacalar.
Maybe we'll get there. But what I wanted to talk about real quick
hit me.
was the fact that, you kind of lamented about not being live, and I think having that live chat audience adds a dimension that is really invaluable.
I think the word you're looking for is distraction.
No, there's an energy. I'm with you, Bacalar. I listen. I love the audience. They fill me with life. And the real-time fact-checking can come in handy sometimes. I do enjoy that.
Sure.
It definitely saves on our correction section. There's something about trying to do the show and manage the live show in terms of always having to check over here and make sure everything's streaming okay and the bit rate's okay and nothing's gone horribly wrong there. Adds a little bit extra. It takes up a little bbit more space in my RAM, if I may. My RAM space. That is, I got used to now, and now that we're not live, now I'm just concerned because doing it live also you can kind of glance over and be like, "Oh, hey, Vinny, your mic is muted," and be like, "Okay, that's great."
They're basically like the fourth person in the control room.
That's right,
helping you out. Giving you the signals, the signal to stretch, right? That all important signal.
We don't need to stretch today, thankfully. We can. I feel like we can do a nice tight show today.
We will probably have a nice tight show because there's not a ton of news, and since we're doing this on Tuesday, there actually hasn't been that much time since the last time we got together to talk about what we've been playing. And so what go ahead, Bacalar. You already got the mic.
I'm sorry. I'm an idiot, but so I got an atomic fireball. In an order I placed on a website.
Don't you love when they do that? That's so nice.
I love it. Like, they put a little dum-dum in there, little piece of candy for you, and it's just been kind of haunting me for these last couple days, just staring at me, being like, "You're not going to enjoy this."
Are you going to enjoy that?
Do you not like the fiery candies?
Well, I used to be a big sour warhead guy.
Sure, sure.
The things that those were just so good because once you got past the sour, there was like a reward at the end of that rainbow, the end of that hell tunnel, if you will.
I just don't like candy that much, so I've never been a
really?
big,
You don't like
I think you should be glad for that because I think liking candy a lot is maybe one of the worst things you can like for your body.
Well, I do like chips a lot. So
I'm not saying there aren't other horrible things you can like for your body, but candy is pure destruction.
I'm a salt person, not a sugar person. So
okay.
I mean, pick your poison there.
Yeah, really.
What is there a specific chip? Because I just got into a new chip. That's kind of taken over.
What's taken over the world? Are they sponsored? Could we get a little? Can we get a little on the back end on this? What's your new chip? Chip of choice.
#ad. There's two brands.
Okay.
So Utz, which is just like
I know Utz.
Utz.
Everyone knows Utz.
No offense to Utz if they ever want to sponsor this, but Utz is the kind of lowest tier of potato chip, I think. Maybe
you're wrong.
On the market, they're flat. They're not ridge. No ridges on a nuts. You just get the leftover from a.
I just want to say, like, I think for whatever reason, Utz gets a bad rap because like maybe their branding is kind of shit.
Okay, the little face on the packaging and the
it's just like a very one-dimensional like piece of shitty clip art, and you're like,
it's Utz is also
2020. How did that happen?
This isn't Utz's fault, but Utz is the dustiest brand. You go into the bodega and you see the dusty bag of Utz in the corner, and that's all they have, and it's got that little sticker that says two for 49 cents, and you're like, yeah, all right, we're having people over, nobody cares.
Like, if I didn't know better, I would assume Utz was the house brand of the grocery outlet chain. You know, like it is the factory second potato chips.
It's not like a Kirkland. Well, I guess Kirkland's not really a factory second either. But like, there's something. Anyway, it's less the brand and more the species of chip.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the russet potato, chip, the kettle. The dark chip. Ooh,
does Utz have one? I didn't know Utz even had one of those.
They most certainly do, and it's only 7 cents a bag. And no, it's they're priced competitively, and
it's actually shaved cardboard.
It's not, because it's so good. And man, the Trader Joe's variety too is so good.
Of the russet chip.
Of that russet chip. I don't know what it is. There's almost like a caramelly kind of salty, just beautiful dance in your mouth. And
well, as a trend prognosticator, Jeff Bakalar, do you feel like the russet potato is going to be the veggie of 2021? Is it poised for a breakout?
It's going to be a big year, almost the likes of which we haven't seen since the Brussels sprout boom of 2007, when that shit came back in a big way.
Did it?
And it still stayed in the top 100 list for these last 7,000 weeks. So I feel like there really is not a lot of room to grow in that category, but russet, man, it's my dark horse pick.
I like it. Do you guys remember an age before Pirate's Booty? Like, I feel like like Pirate Booty is like the kids' snack. They figured it out. They somehow cornered that. Like, there were veggie sticks. You used to have the veggie sticks, and now it's all Pirate Booty and knockoff Pirate Booty. Though my kids have kind of just moved into Doritos.
I don't think I've ever actually had Pirate Booty.
Not
I
bad.
know what it is, and I've seen it. I've just never actually had it.
You've had it.
I don't think I have.
You've had a variation of it. Like,
okay.
Oh, that stuff is not unique to Pirate's Booty. I mean, maybe the only thing they can claim some sort of like originality is maybe like the shape of it, right? Where they've sort of emulated what a piece of popcorn looks like.
Yeah.
Right.
But then, the rest is all smoke and mirrors.
No, their marketing was good. Yeah, they figured it out.
But like, well, their whole marketing was like, you're not eating garbage. You're actually eating, but you are eating garbage.
But you are eating garbage.
Absolutely. You're eating puffy garbage instead of like more condensed garbage. What's really good is the Cheetos brand. I don't like Cheetos. My kid, I think we fucked up a little bit, and he got a taste of the Cheetos, and now he's all like, I need Cheetos.
And that's you're talking about the puffed one, not the.
No, I'm talking about the little crunch bar.
The little dehydrated.
Don't exist. Yeah, it's disgusting. When you really look at one up close, you're like, what is this?
I love it.
They now make a puffier. It's not like organic, but it's definitely like a less fattening and fried thing.
And it's like a ball, right?
No, well, these are like the curls. These are like the crescent
like a cheese
curls.
puff.
Yeah, they're cheese puffs, but they're not like the sort of irradiated orange that like
you don't need to take a shower after getting into them.
Yeah, you're like, oh, cool. That's how tattoos work. You're like,
or just like the war paint down the side of your face of like, oh, you got into some Cheetos, huh? Oh, I did.
It's crazy. I was talking to my doctor, and he's like, you should eat more fiber. And I'm like, all right, what's in fiber? And he proceeded to list everything I eat. He's like, oh, well, it's blueberries, it's popcorn, it's almonds, it's dried fruit, it's nuts. I'm like,
we'll just eat more of it.
I'm like, but I freaking binge on all that stuff. So I don't know what it is. Maybe my body's just figuring out a way to get rid of fiber.
It rejects it. Rejects it outright. Does not want any of that fiber business.
Wait, before we get into it, I got some other things, because I know this is
this is the airing of Jeff's grievances. Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Well, I was gonna get on your potato chip thing here and just ask.
Let's close that door first. Sure,
before we go, crinkle or cut or not crinkle?
Crinkle cut's insane. I don't get it.
I'm a crinkle.
I don't get it.
I'm a crinkle.
I wouldn't go that far. It's maybe
I'm
not my. Yeah, crinkle cut's good. I'm pro crinkle cut, but also I don't need it. It's not a thing that I require from a chips.
I think you get more for your money with the crinkle cut.
I'm pretty sure that's not actually insane.
I think you get more value. I'm a crinkle fan. I like
what?
it. Yeah.
You think there's the accordion shape has like more surface area?
There's more surface area. You're getting more chip for your money. It's just physics. I mean,
it's just math.
Prove
we'll
me
just
wrong.
have to wait for like fucking Mythbusters to do an episode.
Like actually, they don't add a chip. They remove 1.5 chips to even out the amount of.
You actually get less.
You actually get less. It's a known fact.
So
yes.
I got a kind of like a situation that I'd love your take on.
Let's do it. We're not talking about anything fun today.
So I had someone at the house a couple days ago doing a household repair.
What was it? Can you share?
It's personal.
Okay.
And irrelevant.
All right.
It's not about what the guy was doing there.
Does this have to do with your fiber thing? Did you clog a toilet in a bad way? What happened? Did
you
eat too many nuts?
Like that.
Okay.
He was fixing a TV.
Okay.
And I just didn't want to like isolate the anyway. He's backing out of my driveway, and he just obliterates my mailbox like in a real bad way
with a baseball bat. He was backing out of my
driveway. He got out at the curb and just wound up.
And smashed my mailbox. Which is that aggressive? I don't know.
He's just mad at the mail.
Wait, so did he stop?
So he stops. And I was walking Marty. I got out and walked Marty. I figured he was gone. And he's like, Jeff. I'm like, oh no. What'd you do? And he felt real bad. And it's obliterated. Like there's no saving it. He miraculously got it to like sit up again.
It's fine.
Like this is fine. This is fine.
Look, I fixed it.
It's still good.
I gotta go.
He propped it up, drove away, and then it fell down.
I hope so. Does this story go with? So I got the mailbox guy over, and then he comes in the house to use the restroom and obliterates my TV.
No. This is like a domino effect.
He drove a van through my living room.
So he was very apologetic.
Yeah,
and he started saying like, I wish your driveway wasn't so steep or whatever it was.
This is your fault.
And I was like, this is your fault, man. Like the best part about it is like, you look at, there's still snow on the ground. So you can like trace the tire marks where like dude just went right up off the curb and just,
I've been to your house in the past. I don't remember it being like Suicide Hill or something like that. It is a normal driveway.
It's steeper than average, I'll say for sure. But you're still just like, I don't know, use your mirrors and you're fine. So I don't like, I was like, you think you can get this fixed for me?
You said that, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're more.
Wait, I'm sorry. Is he not responsible for this?
No, he is.
I think I just probably would have been like, well, I guess it depends. So it's a freestanding post. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
just cement in the ground kind of thing.
So yeah. So here's where I was way less upset. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he probably didn't know this because who examines anyone's mailbox, right?
It was rotted.
That mailbox was done. It was a miracle that thing was even standing.
Oh, wow.
Okay. This is just between the three of us.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is this will not be between the three of us. And as soon as the court case comes around, this will be admitted as evidence.
Did I say he was a TV repairman? I meant he was a plumber.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Specific plumber named Phil.
Okay.
And so Phil, he had no idea that this mailbox was very much on its way out. I mean, it's amazing that like this snowstorm didn't finally,
So Phil, I think is fine. I think you let Phil off the hook on this one.
That's kind of where I'm leaning, just because it's also, given us a bit of like a fun little project to pursue.
Are you going to do it yourself?
That's another thing I want to talk to you about, Mr. Vin.
Yeah.
Are you free on Friday?
I am not. But a post hole digger is no digging those holes for the post. That's not fun, but you can do it.
Yeah, so I don't want to do that.
Well, because you got to
get
the
here's what you got.
You got to get the concrete out of there too.
Yeah.
So here's what you got, Jeff, is you got yourself an opportunity in the sense that if you let him off the hook and you say like, hey, you know what? It's Christmas. It was an honest mistake. It's all good.
Yeah.
You know, don't worry about it. The next time you need that TV repaired,
you are good to
there's
go.
at least a discount coming your way, I think.
Yeah. You're good. Did he charge you for the repair?
No, he did not.
Okay. Well, because it's under warranty.
It was under warranty. He had no choice. Look, I think I like Alex's job description there. I think
hold it over his head forever. That's the
in the tradition of like New Jersey bartering.
Yes, that's right.
It's just a favor. That's all it is. Is you're doing this guy a solid, saying like this is not your responsibility. Don't worry about it. He's going to be happy about it, and you just say, you know, down the road if you need him. If it comes up, maybe he'll never come up. Maybe the TV will never need repairing, and that's fine. That guy will go the rest of his life feeling like he got away with one, and that's cool too. That's a Christmas present.
You got to play it a little. I mean, time has probably passed, but you should be like, "Oh no, not the mailbox. What's? Oh my gosh, my wife's great grandfather planted that mailbox from a seed, and it grew, and that made it by hand. The post. That's not what you." All right. No, we're good.
That mailbox has been in my family for 200
we moved
years.
from the old country in that mailbox. I had to hide in that mailbox. I was smuggled as a small child across the Europe and into this country in that mailbox. How could you know, though? And then
that mailbox is my son's godfather.
But how could you know? Listen, Phil, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I do you a solid. Maybe someday in the future, you do me a solid. You know,
right?
That's right.
Wink, wink.
One day, Phil.
Yeah, one day
I will call upon you to come and to fix my television.
Phil takes his hat off and he holds it with both hands. He goes, "Really, Mr. Bachelor? You would do that for me? Oh, Merry Christmas, Mr. Bachelor. We're Jewish. It's fine. Don't worry."
And then he backs up and smashes your car bumper.
He's like, "Oh, never mind."
I think you're good. I think you could totally do this project on your own. I think is it worth it?
No, I don't. I'm gonna hire someone to do it. I don't want to do it. Why are you making me do this?
Well, especially now because the ground is going to be tough to dig into. It'll be frozen for a while. So if you're going to get this done, they'll have the machine. They'll just use an auger or whatever and dig it out. And they got to get the concrete out of there. It's snapped the post, or did it?
No. And here's the thing. Maybe you're wrong about the concrete.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying it. I just don't think there was concrete.
Oh, really?
I think it was just like a hopeful hole
with the post with like a 4x4 just plunked into it.
Which is why maybe it was on its way out, where it was like sort of like. Beep.
Oh, okay, yeah, it could totally be, yeah. And so, if they put a new one in, I assume they would. I don't know much about this, but usually they will. I think they will pour concrete to set the base so that it doesn't do that, and then
we're really just gonna let the phrase "hopeful hole" just slide on past, right? Like, that's just gone into the ether. Okay,
that's what happens with no chat, man.
Yeah, we talk about nothing for a while. All right, do you have anything else you want to get into?
I feel like I should.
Any other household measures you need to?
Maybe we should turn the chat on just in case before we.
To see if anyone's in there waiting for nothing. I think that's all I got. But yeah, that's.
It's hard to know if we actually started the show without the chat. I feel like that's the problem.
I know.
This is still the pre-show.
Yeah, it's pre-show banter. All right, well, Jeff, we'll come back around to you. We're going to go around the horn here and talk a little bit. Then we'll come back around for hopefully some updates on pinball or Guns N' Roses. So we'll see how that goes first.
Is that all I am to you guys?
Yes. I mean, a little bit. I mean, it's not all you are. It's in addition. You bring that.
Some pinball puppet? Is that what I am?
Pinball, that you're a pinball puppet.
That's you.
It's got. He's a
I could live with that,
pinball puppet.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, listen, I haven't played a bunch of stuff. Since the last time we talked, I did play more Destiny 2 because that's the game I've been playing with my brothers, and so I've done more of that. You know, delivering wintertime cookies to people, trying to get the dawning essence up, and I watched like a 3-hour lore video at some point in my life over the course of a week. Absorbed that, and do I understand the Destiny 2 lore and Destiny 1 lore? Who's to say?
There's a darkness and there's an orb.
There's
the two are in some kind of conflict.
They must
Go. That's
the
lore.
Yeah, they must always fight, and then never angles versus curves.
Yeah.
So I've been spending a lot of time there. I'm trying to think really if there's anything else I kicked up on the weekend. It was kind of a fairly busy weekend. We had to. I've got all the Christmas shopping is kind of done. There's some wrapping that needs to happen now. Now that we're all COVID, inside COVID, or at least I am inside COVID, there's no Christmas Eve. I'm not going to my cousin's house, and people are, so it's the time is slipping away. Usually it's like, oh gosh, okay, Christmas Eve, we come back from my cousin's, the kids are asleep, then we all wrap the gifts and we do all this stuff in the business. So not this year. Now I just got to be ready on time. So I got to manage time. Also, it feels like we're working right up until Christmas Eve in a way that hasn't happened in a while. We're like, oh.
Yeah, the timing just kind of worked out on that one this year.
Yeah, like our first day off is Christmas Eve, and I have to have a present ready by Christmas Eve, or mostly stuff wrapped by then. So that's.
Yeah.
And also Hanukkah felt later this year, so it was like a week between them, or earlier. I don't know. The timing all feels weird. I'm usually not home for any of this. Usually in San Francisco for 2 weeks or a week, as my wife's birthday, Hanukkah, and Christmas all happen in December.
Sometimes. You
yeah.
have to consult the calendar.
Yeah,
sometimes it does find its way
into November.
Yeah,
right.
Just like, hey, I showed up early. Is it cool if I crash here?
Is it cool?
Is it cool?
Are you still having turkey? Because I love turkey.
Did you just finish your Thanksgiving dinner? Because I'm Hanukkah and I could possibly fuck up the rest of your month.
Right. Happy Hanukkah. So yeah, we're starting to do that. So anyway. Video game wise, it's mostly been Destiny 2. I can't think of anything else. I have the list that I've been making to check out the games. I downloaded some games, doing the kind of like, okay, let's start finding out where all these games are. Who's on Xbox Live? Who's on Game Pass? Who's on Epic? Who's on Steam? Who's on PSN? Where it's starting to make my budget for games of like, oh, okay, who can I get on Carrion? You're on Xbox Game Pass right now. Let me start downloading you and starting to do that list, making sure I have all that stuff.
Those are champagne problems. Let's not,
No, they're yes, for sure. I mean,
but I agree with you.
It's one of the weirder things this year about not doing Game of the Year before Christmas break. It's a good and a bad thing. It's the good thing is we get to catch up on games and try and get ahead. A little bit of the bad thing, I'm not saying it's a huge problem, is I feel this responsibility during Christmas break to go in and play and touch all these games to make sure I carve out time for it, when I otherwise would just be, goofing off or doing other stuff or playing games that I'm looking forward to playing. Boo-hoo, I have to try and find time to play a lot of games over the break, but it's time goes by. That week goes by really quickly.
Speaking of that kind of, this you got to cram for because you got a big feature coming up that you need to be able to speak intelligently about stuff. I understand that to be a thing. A game that I was kind of wondering about getting into is Disco Elysium.
Sure.
And I feel like that recent, what is it? The director's cut is kind of making it so that I should wait to play it. Would you guys agree?
I don't know what's in the director's cut. I haven't followed it.
Did you play the
Yeah,
game
I didn't finish it. I played it when it came out.
So it's something about more voice acting or some sort of special voice acting thing.
Okay.
Fully voice acted is maybe something that's going to happen.
Wow.
That would be a lot of voice acting because the game is not. No, it is not fully voice acted.
Maybe some voice acting is what
some additional. Yeah. So I haven't played it yet, and once I saw that announcement of the director's cut thing, I decided that was probably what I was going to wait to finally sit down and play that thing.
It's a really interesting world. It's very CRPG and mixed in with it's like
full voice acting.
Full voice acting. Wow.
Full.
Very classic adventure game style. But you have, you'll be putting points in and getting an inventory and doing that stuff. A lot of dialogue trees. It's very traditional CRPG. But interesting world.
And coming to consoles too, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
As
part of the Final Cut thing.
A little. Oh, Alex has now turned the green. Welcome to Cyberpunk, Alex.
God, he's just like one shade of green right there.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did. All I did was literally sign into my Epic account because I kind of wanted to see what was sitting there.
That's it.
That's what did it.
That's what did it. Did you open another? I found opening other windows or looking at the computer funny will do it, or breathing on it sometimes will.
That's what you look like, Alex.
Do I look okay now?
No, you're still.
I don't know what to do.
You're still mean, Mr. Green.
I want to ungreen myself, but I don't know what I could do.
Oh, you did it.
Oh, there you go. What'd you do?
You've done it.
I opened my brbrowser window.
Well, that's the key.
Goodness.
That's the key.
Alex, before you turn green again, any games you want to talk? Any games you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I mean, other than the stuff I'm been playing, I'm still working my way through those. But I did finally wrap up the first Game Pass game I think I have ever actually finished is Spiritfarer.
Nice.
I finally did the last bit of it. Because man, look, I'm not calling it a slog. It's not. It's just that like every time you say goodbye to a character in that game, it's a little bit of a moment, and I've been having a lot of those moments this year. So like, it's just taken me some time to gird myself for where that was inevitably going to end up. And I will say, look, I'm not going to spoil a single thing here or say anything in great detail. But the last moments of that game kind of destroyed me.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I gotta finish it up. I only have like 2 people on my boat that have been sitting there for months now.
Yeah, it's not that it's surprising or overwhelming compared to any other, key moment in that game. It's just that the culmination of it at the end, the niceness of it, and kind of the warmth of it is the only thing that kept me from just falling on the floor sobbing, because like it's just been that kind of year, you know, and there's some imagery in there that very specifically called back to some not great moments for me this year. And it just kind of all came together in a way that, I don't know, it just really did it. I think it is a nice ending. It is a good ending, but it's as much 2020 as I think the game itself that kind of knocked me back. And so, yeah, I think that game's great. I think it's maybe a little long, it labors a little too much on stuff that isn't the core story, which is by far the most interesting part of it.
Yeah.
But once you kind of get over the hump of realizing which hamster wheels you need to be spinning to kind of get through that game, and you just kind of like put the hammer down and kind of finish it, it's real good. I think that the best parts of that game are really great, and
I need to finish it.
Certainly rank high for me.
Did you max out the boat?
I did not max out the boat. There was like one boat size I did not finish, and there were a couple of small upgrades I did not get that were just like speed related.
Okay.
But I got everything else.
You got the fungus child?
Yes, I did get every spirit on my boat.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get it back in there. I like that game a lot.
Yeah.
I need to finish it. Anything else?
Very
Alex?
French also, which I did not realize until I looked at the credits. It is extremely French, which is perfect actually, because it totally reminds me of like one of those feature animated films that like gets nominated for an Oscar,
Sure.
and it's like the one you've never heard of.
Yes.
And like 1 out of every 5 of those is actually really great. And this was one of the really great ones.
Is it French or French Canadian? Do you know?
I'm pretty sure it's French, but I could be wrong about that.
Anything else, Alex?
No, like I said, just the usual stuff. I'm starting to make the list of things I'm going to play over the next week. And it's not that long. It's just a few games that people have recommended to me. But yeah, right now I just wanted to kind of focus on finishing the stuff I needed to finish.
Bacalar. Bacalar. I'm gonna get to you in a second, but first I want to talk. I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
What are your feelings on Rubik's cubes?
They're neat,
non-existent.
I mean, no, like one time I the Liberty Science
I love that
Center.
place. That place is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really cool science museum. I was there a couple years back.
So funny. Was I there with you? Were they doing the speed cubers? Were we there at the same time?
Was it 2014?
No, I don't know if I was back.
It's the day
We came back in 2014. July 2014 is when we started.
Might have been then.
It's the day I found out my wife was pregnant. But
maybe we did go there
because we went to the museum, we did the Rubik's Cube thing, and we're like, oh, look at the fucking nerds. And then
was it in the summer?
Yes.
I think it was right after you got here.
It was August.
It might have been. That might have been
August of so weird. Wait, did we just go together?
Yeah, I knew you. We went together. No, I don't think I knew you.
Oh no, we weren't. Yeah, we knew each other. We just weren't best buds.
Yeah, we didn't. I don't know. Had we gone over to meet you at 28th Street by that point?
We weren't there together. But
okay.
But we could have been there independently.
Yes.
Could have.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably more than just a day too. It wasn't just like,
who knows?
Yeah, so like I find that stuff kind of interesting. I don't, I know it's all like math and whatnot, but I've never attempted to try and do any of that stuff, and that seems pretty impressive. And you know what I think is cool? I think all the technology they've built around it is cool. Where like there's the timing pads where like people like touch the shit. I think that's neat. And then I'm sure there's a whole scene of like how you lubing up your cube. Like I'm sure that's a thing.
Tightening it up.
As someone who's very sensitive to lube,
I don't want
keyboard lube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just drink it in and swallow it down.
Yeah, I'm drinking in that cube lube.
Yeah, get the lube, you want that edible cube lube.
Stem lube, switch lube, stab lube. So yeah, like it's probably a cool scene. It seems it's super funny to me that it's like ultra competitive and it's all over like a couple 100,000 of the second. Like
well, I think it's a couple of seconds, but yes,
kind of funny.
Everything is competitive now. So I got we got our son Rubik's Cube as one of the Hanukkah gifts, and I was like, oh, you know what? And we got him like how to solve book, and I was like, I should learn how to just solve a Rubik's Cube. That's like kind of one of those things like. This feels like a good quarantine thing, or like I'm sitting at my computer during a Zoom meeting or whatever and just kind of doing the Rubik's Cube in the background. And so I looked it up, and it is not hard, first of all, to memorize the steps to solve a Rubik's Cube. You're right. It is all algorithms is what they call them. So it's like, hey, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. And you can look it up. And so here's my mixed feeling on it. So I can solve a Rubik's Cube, not quickly, but, I can solve a Rubik's Cube in, 5 minutes or whatever by just
look at this guy.
But I don't think, but here's the thing. I don't know what I'm doing. Missing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just doing the algorithm. I'm just doing the hand motions. Like I don't know.
Like you understand, like you can follow the steps, but why the steps are the steps is not there.
Where did you pull that out?
You don't want to know. I'm holding up a Rubik's Cube to the camera.
Let's just say lube was involved.
Look at this.
Look at this. So the interesting thing is like I can do it because I have memorized the process, but and as I do it more, the process, I'm like, oh, this one takes too long. Is there another algorithm I can run for this section of it? Like you do the face, you do one of the faces, like the white face. There's the steps I use are like do the daisy, then do the face, then it makes the bottom row, and then it's like, oh, this one's too long. Is there another one? And that's really interesting to me, but I also have no idea how the pieces are moving around on the cube. I just know it's like do this side one way, flip the top, flip the back. It's really interesting. But like a lot of things, I feel like, and this is like a very old man screaming at the tide. I feel like it's again one of those things of like, well, I know how to use it, but I don't know how it works, kind of thing. Like, oh, I know how to use my phone, but if it breaks, I have no idea how to use it, kind of thing. And that's maybe a leap to there. It just reminded me of that kind of thing of like, oh yeah, I could solve this. But don't ask me exactly what's happening or how the pieces are moving around.
So you've taken all the fun out of it.
So that's, I think, what it kind of is. It's like not necessarily puzzle solving. It's running through the mechanical steps to get it solved, which is very satisfying. And then how to do that quicker. I'm not interested in the speed stuff. But I am interested because it's kind of like programming of like, oh, okay, you're turning this, you're moving this, you're turning this, you're moving this, and it's moving one block around. By this algorithm, it's moving one block to where you need it to go. And I think that's super interesting. And the ability to kind of understand that, to me, I think is more interesting than solving it. So spent a decent amount of time with the cube and Rubik's Cubes. And the competitive scene is wild on it.
A Rubik's Cube is essentially like this toy that's an optical illusion that is like this puzzle that has a solution, but like it's presented as this impossible thing to someone where they're just like, blah, this will take forever. And then
how could you do it?
Just like, an empty Sudoku puzzle. It's like, well, no, there's a way to do it. You just got to like,
but I think even more than that is, it's like, I've just been messing with this under the table the whole time we're talking now. I think even more interesting than that is that you can run through these programs on it and at the other end get a solved cube, and that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But I feel like and correct me if I'm wrong, because we were just probably kids when it came out.
We're just kids. No, it came out in like the 20s.
The Rubik's Cubes have been around for a long time.
I mean, not that long ago.
I don't think
but like,
so.
I want to say at least the 70s.
I want to say the 50s even.
What? 50s, no way. I want to say the 80s. I think Rubik's Cube
wait. Let's all take bets. No,
okay.
I know. Okay.
I'm saying early 80s.
The Rubik's
Cube. Just say 1960s.
The Rubik's Cube debuted in 1971.
I'm saying early 80s. Are you looking it up, Jeff?
I looked it up.
Okay. Whose job is it?
I looked it up. The Rubik's Cube is a 3D combination puzzle invented in 1974 by Hungarian sculptor and professor of architecture Erno Rubik.
Okay,
I win that, right? I won
okay,
that.
but when did it come to market? Does it say?
Shut 1980.
Okay, wait, no,
1980.
That's
a technicality. That's a technicality.
No, I'm saying when it came out, and we were kids when it came out, and it was like available.
I wasn't born yet when it came out.
It took 6 years to get that shit made.
Everybody was like, "This isn't fun, Rubik." Or whatever, John Rubik.
There's only one of your cubes.
Erno Rubik. Erno.
Rubik. This is not fun, Erno. Don't worry, people will buy it.
I'll split the prize money with you, but we're both right.
Anyway, I feel like there was like I don't remember speed cubing or any of that during the run when I was a child of the Rubik's Cube. I remember it being the thing of like, oh, if you can figure this out, you're a genius kind of thing. Like nobody can solve a Rubik's Cube. And now it's like, like you said, people solving it in 2 seconds. Did you ever have those flat things with the rings that were like a Rubik's puzzle, and like they had fishing line between them, and you could fold them and then unfold them in weird ways? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Okay. They were
describe it again.
It was like a 6-panel flat thing that had rings, and you're supposed to get all the ring colors. They almost look like the Olympics logo with the rings that intersect, and you can fold it and then fold it in different ways to solve it. All I just remember is breaking that thing and the fishing string coming out constantly. So yeah, that's
this motherfucker is solving the Rubik's Cube under the table, doing his fucking little algorithmic magic trick.
Fuck that. He bought 2 cubes.
And he's doing it under. Guess what, Vinny? Your time sucks.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was
right. Dude, you just passed up a huge opportunity to look like a big nerd.
No.
So.
I know lies when I see them.
I bought so here's the other thing with I held up this other Rubik's Cube if you're listening to the podcast, which is already solved. I wound up buying 2. So here's the other thing I learned with Rubik's Cube.
Clearly.
Clearly. They're duplicating on my desk. For colorblind, it sucks. If you're a colorblind,
I bet.
There is an orange side. The part that gets me, there's an orange side and a green side. And unless it's in strong light, I really have a lot of trouble seeing them. So I had to buy a different cube than my kids. And I looked up, hey, what are ones with higher contrast for some of these colors? And there were good recommendations. So the one I got, the colors are a little brighter. So I can actually tell these a little bit better, but I still need some strong light on it. But when I was looking them up, I'm like, oh, there's one that's like non-magnet and one that has magnets in it that make them snap when it's in the right place.
That sounds satisfying.
Yeah, and they were not that cheap, but I was like, listen, this sounds like a fun thing to do again during a meeting. So anyway, Rubik's Cube, the game.
Yeah,
everybody's getting into chess. Let's get. I want the Erno Rubik miniseries of how this. Nobody will ever buy it, Erno. I want his story told.
I'm pitching my series to Netflix right now on Tiddlywinks. It's gonna be the next big thing, man. It's gonna be fucking huge. Can't wait.
Winks
gonna make so much money.
Yeah.
Next week, Vinny's just gonna be like, "You guys ever use yo-yos?"
No, yo-yos.
It'll be like, "Hey, you know what jacks are? Do you guys know what jacks?"
How long long can you juggle? Unicycles. Are you into unicycles?
Marbles origins.
I'm like I said, I needed to do it because my son. I needed to do it. My son was like, "Oh, can you teach me how to do it?" And I was like, "No, I don't know how to do this." And so I tried to learn, and now I think I can teach him how to do it. Again, the speed stuff is wild. And also, if you're looking up speed Rubik's Cube, there's no way you don't just take a second or 5 or a half a day, and start looking up speed stacking again. Because speed stacking is it the dumbest sport? It's up there,
with
right?
The cups?
Yeah.
The cups?
I don't know, man. I mean, cricket's right there.
Yeah.
Cricket is insanely popular.
I know.
I don't know how popular.
I'm sure I'm actually upsetting a whole bunch of people by saying that. To me, it is the most incomprehensible of all sports.
I mean, there's croquet. I couldn't tell you how that works either.
You hit a wooden ball on the grass. That's it.
My question for you is, these people who solve these things in like 4 seconds.
Yeah, like me.
What algorithm are they doing?
So I don't know, because there are ones where you just have to memorize. That's just like right face, right face prime, or counterclockwise, top right. You just memorize the algorithm for each section, right? And so you can memorize that. The one I did was like, hey, here's one algorithm. It takes a lot longer because you have to run it a couple of times in a row.
Yeah.
But here's one that you just memorize, and that's the one I use to solve it. And you just run the same thing. It's like this very easy algorithm that you just run over and over again. Like it's super duper easy. And it just gets the piece. You have to do some manipulation of the cube, obviously, to get the setup.
Oh, you gotta manipulate.
Manipulate the cube, but like you can get there. It's fun. You should look it up. It's like a weird dumb thing of like. When I saw that we got it for my son for Hanukkah, I was like, I've never solved one, but I know people do. I'm going to learn how to do this, and then it was much following a set of instructions. It seems like they have broken the Rubik's Cube. It has been solved, and now it is. I wonder if like speed.
Mr. Erno Rubik was like, one day my secret will be out, and this thing could be solved. No problem.
I like it because I feel like people applied science to it, and we're like, yeah, here's the math. You could do we could break this down into steps, and here's the math for it, and so that's cool. Anyway, that's what you get when there's not a lot of play right now. I'm still sitting on Cyberpunk. I will probably go back to it a bit. I don't know. I feel like maybe I played enough of it for the Game of the Year talk. I don't know if I have. Like, it's a game that could take up spots for something else to play. But Jeff, we were up to you. What have you been up to aside from mailboxes?
I haven't touched that game in like, I want to say at least a week.
Okay.
And I definitely don't miss it. I am still seeking closure to the main story. So I'd like to see that through. So I think I will go ahead and actually finish that thing. But what I've been playing primarily is those new Call of Duty maps.
Sure. Okay.
Raid and the Mall. I know I talked about it last week, but that Raid map is so damn good. And it's like the first map that they redid, aside from Nuketown, that they redid that I'm like still super familiar with. So putting that back on like a nice pair of cozy underwear was real nice. And then that New Jersey Mall map is fun as hell too. You should just see it, Vinny. I
bought
it.
I think I bought that game with you and Dan that time, right? I
so
bought it live with you, so I own it. I should play more of it. We should get on again. We should get another session going.
Definitely. That's a lot of fun. And that's kind of just what I've been playing. I've been doing a lot of like we did this in like the middle of the summer with a bunch of my high school friends, just getting on and playing like Jackbox stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
All that stuff's a lot of fun. So kind of been doing that a little bit too.
Did you use like Discord or something for that?
No, they're doing like a Zoom where like one person hosts. I'll say this, like I'm trying to get my friends to get on to a different platform other than the ones they've been on for like 10 years. It's like brain surgery. It's not even worth it. I tried to get a bunch of them on.
Yeah, brain surgery, not worth it.
It's not even worth
it.
No, it's just, and I tried to get a bunch of them on Discord, and it was like you know, it's like moving mountains with these people. They're just like, oh, I don't understand. What's a server? What's a channel? I'm just like, forget it. Go back to AIM or whatever the fuck you're using. You know, like
if you use Trillion, you can get them all. You gotta do.
God, wow.
Yeah. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember Trillion.
I use Trillion. I was I mean, even before that, I was like a big ICQ guy.
Do you remember your ICQ number?
Come on.
No, I don't remember mine either.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember mine either.
Yeah. So stop. I don't believe you did one side.
Yeah, you didn't finish the whole thing, man. I can see the other part.
I'll stop. All right, I'll put him down.
Sleight of hand. So yeah, just I'm sorry. You know, I can't vent to anybody about that besides you guys, right? I can't vent to my wife like, oh no, these idiots want to get on Discord. They're such pricks.
Well, there's so many. I mean, a lot of people just jumped in Zoom. Then you got Discord. Then you got
Zoom's not like the daily chat thing you use.
No.
Why not? Well, Zoom had some.
Don't give me any other ideas.
No. But then there's like, okay, you're gonna use WhatsApp, or you're gonna use Signal, or you're gonna use, SMS, or you're gonna use.
So they all use Viber, and they started using Viber like 8 years ago.
What the fuck is that?
Exactly. They started using it 8 years ago because we have a friend who moved internationally, and we figured like, oh, this will satisfy everyone's platform. And at the time, it was the move, but like there are just better apps out there and better services out there, and I think Discord was like a little too DIY-y for some of them, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So, we're back to Viber, like a bunch of dicks.
Like a dildo, like a Viber,
like a spiked dildo placed on a trash can in Night City.
Wow. That's you got a weird relationship with your friends. You go around.
Tell me about it.
Anything going on with the pinball?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. That's what I've been playing. I've been playing a shit ton of that Guns N' Roses machine.
I bet.
God, it's just so satisfying. It is such a satisfying game to play. And another cool thing that I figured out, it connects to the internet.
To do what?
Well, I don't know.
Okay. It's always a good sign.
Well, so it does two things, okay? Pinball machines get updated with software, new firmware. That happens quite regularly. And now instead of, dumping it on a USB and popping it in, that can be done over the network. So even that is worth the price of admission. There is like leaderboard stuff that I'm trying to figure out, something called Scorebit. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
I heard of it.
So it's like it uses like a QR code to like sync up the table. And then I think you can start uploading scores. But you could still cheese it though. Like if I'm sure there's people who like own tables and you just like tap all the switches and do whatever. So I don't know how that exactly
like
works,
how do you verify any of it?
Yeah, like how you do any of that. But either way, that game is so damn good, so much depth, and just damn pretty. I mean that thing lights up. That the same guys did Wonka. Those machines are on a different level when it comes to the production value. So I'm feeling it, and I'm trying to figure out a streaming solution. And that's kind of been
what's the problem with this one? Too many screens?
No, Guns N' Roses.
Oh, I see. Yes,
that's the problem.
Yeah, you don't want that felony.
You don't want to go to prison.
Yeah, you don't want that felony charge.
I don't want to do pinball crimes.
No.
So
do the pinball crime.
I don't know.
Do the pinball time.
I don't know how we get around that aside from like muting the stream.
And that's not fun.
That's not fun. What's the point?
You want to hear the Guns N' Roses. You want to hear it.
You want to hear Sweet Child of Mine.
I came here for the Guns N' Roses.
It's not going to be fun just watching Slash miming something. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe you can what do they do? They slow it down. Just put like a.
Can you do that?
Chop and screw the Guns N' Roses. Speed it up or slow it down. Put a little.
And like the great, of course, the next pinball game that Stern announces and releases is Led Zeppelin.
So they won't care.
Okay,
no,
that's not gonna be a big deal.
Yeah, they're definitely not even way weirder than Guns N' Roses is about that shit.
Yeah.
Well, so I will say one thing that people were doing for some of the more litigious artists that were appearing in music games for a while is when they would put videos up, they would pitch shift the audio down so that it was, you know, you were hearing Jimi Hendrix, but it was just like, you know,
Right.
and it, you know, it wasn't slowed down. It just was pitch shifted. So it still was like synced up with the gameplay. It just sounded like, you know, DJ Screw got a hold of that shit.
So yeah,
mean,
you just want to bypass the
solution.
algorithm. Speaking of algorithm.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
All right. Anything else before we jump into the news section?
That's it for me.
We're gonna hit the news. There's not a lot of news, so we'll probably talk a little bit about what's coming out in 2021 and what's going on there. But we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, more the Giant Beastcast. And we are back. We got a little bit of news here. Alex. Any more? And what? Cyberpunk continues to be in the news.
We love talking about it. We're never going to be tired of it.
What are the updates? We talked some about it on the hotspot, but that's not the Beastcast. And I think after we recorded the Beastcast last week is when they pulled it from the PlayStation Store. When Sony pulled it from the PlayStation Store.
Yes.
And now what is going on?
I mean, it's just kind of been a cascading effect. As far as I know, it has not been pulled from the Microsoft Store, but they have, in fact, amended their refund policy also to allow for the Xbox One version of that game to be returned.
Yeah.
Best Buy at a time, or at least for a time, was willing to take returns back. And it sounds like GameStop even recently sent out a memo being like, we will accept open copies of this game and we will send them back to our warehouse labeled defective.
We should probably preface again. We were recording this on Tuesday the 22nd because this stuff keeps moving pretty quickly.
So, yeah, and the thing is, there's not a lot to say that we haven't already said in multiple places on the site. It just seems to be that this is the continuing problem until they either fix that game or, you know, they just, the retailers decide they don't want to take refunds anymore. One thing I will say is I don't necessarily, it does not sound like this has had a huge impact on the overall business this game has done, because according to their sales figures, they've sold like 13 million copies of that game.
That's a lot of copies. I'm glad.
I think that includes like up to the time the refunds that had been adjusted.
I wonder what the percentage of refunds is. Is it like 2% of people getting refunds? You think it's like above?
If it's 2% of 13 million, they're still doing fine.
You know what? And that's also a lot of refunds. But yeah. Well, like I think we said even 2 weeks ago or a week ago when it came out, we started talking about this. I think business wise, they are probably going to do fine. We talk a bit about this on the hotspot, or at length, maybe you could even say on the hotspot, of like, what does this mean for this stuff going forward? What lessons could be taken? Does it change the math if the lesson is, don't worry, you're still going to turn a huge profit even if this all happens? I guess that remains to be seen. So yeah, Cyberpunk stuff continues to happen. We got patches, and then next gen version still slated for next year. So
yep, still no date on that either. Yeah. So probably I imagine there won't be until the new year.
Yes.
I'd love to see those return numbers. I know that's like a thing we'll never see, but
oh yeah, no chance.
I mean, you might get them.
To know.
You might get them from. They might leak out of a outlet or something, like a GameStop or something like that eventually. But that I wouldn't even count on that. You know, that'd probably have to be because somebody's tracking that somewhere.
So just to backpedal a tiny bit, PSN takes the game down. So what happens? They get to a point where they're just like, "Yo, we're done with this refund situation. This thing's off the store." So, what do you think?
So the timeline on that was CD Projekt Red coming out and saying, "We're very sorry. The whole thing. This is the part we did report on a bit. We're very sorry. We should have put more time into the PS4 and Xbox One versions. It's mea culpa, our fault. If you're unhappy with the product, seek a refund out." And so people went to seek a refund out from the various platforms. And Sony does not have I want to say they don't have a digital refund.
They have a refund policy, but that refund policy is we generally do not give out digital refunds.
So people were like, they said come to you. And Sony was like, they said what? Or I'm sorry, that's editorializing. I don't know what they actually said.
I know what you mean.
What they actually said was, well, we're pulling down Cyberpunk until further notice from the store. You will be supported with patches and all that stuff if you bought it already, but you cannot purchase it at this time. And so it seemed like a direct response to the developer, CD Projekt Red, saying, go seek a refund if you're unhappy, conflicting with Sony's refund policy of nah. And if you're going to do that, then we're just going to pull your game off the thing. That's what it seemed. That's what the timeline seemed like.
Yeah, that more or less tracks.
So then, everybody else following suit again over this course of
Though again, Sony at this point seems like the only one that has actually taken it off their storefront.
Yeah. But Sony also being the one who probably has one of the worst refund policies in terms of existing.
Yeah.
So either they're going to bend or they're going to figure out another way to deal with it.
Yeah.
That
was unprecedented for
that's intense.
Oh yeah.
That's really something. It's hard. It was hard. Again, we kind of went over this on the hotspot, but it was hard to think of stuff that was analogous to this that wasn't the developer pulling something off of a shelf or basically doing a recall. Like there have been cases where physical copies of games had to be pulled off because of let's call it a printing error. Something on the disc had to be changed. The music had to be changed, or there was a hot coffee incident or something, and it was pulled off of a shelf. A retailer basically saying, we don't want to deal with this nonsense and pulling it off, especially a digital
for something
retailer.
This high profile too.
And Sony is one of the biggest, or one of the biggest platforms you can be on for selling these things digitally. So
And I talked, like I said, we talked about this on the hotspot, but like the thing I'm waiting on with this is just to see like what is this going to mean going forward?
Yeah.
Because if they're willing to do this with a game this high profile, that does open up the door to a lot of stuff for games that are also maybe disappointing or broken in various ways, but not to such a degree that it require a storefront to pull them off the store shelves. Like, is this setting a weird precedent for the future for the consumer?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, I don't necessarily think it's a bad precedent, but it does open the door to a lot of potential action that was just not there before.
Yeah. And two things I'll add to this that we didn't get into on the hotspot. One is, would Sony have made this call if this were a services game or a game that had a lot of in-game purchases for real money? If they were like, I mean, this game basically you buy it and you're kind of done, and for now we can get some DLC maybe later. But would they give up the opportunity to let somebody choose a different platform for this game and then basically spend all their money there for this? I wonder.
I see what you're saying, but also I think if a developer of a live service game had pulled the shit CD Projekt pulled on Sony, they might be just as apt to say, well, fuck you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, right. What's the business math on that? I don't know. The other thing that kind of happened that I didn't expect, actually, was it hit mainstream in a way that I did not expect it to happen. It bled outside of the circle to where you had mainstream news outlets doing this. Jeff Gerstmann was on his German news show doing it. I saw it.
Oh no, I did a radio hit.
Did you? For whom?
Yeah, a place in Florida. I think Tallahassee, maybe.
Yeah. So like I know I saw an article on the New York Times about it, and none of them very flattering. So
no,
and that was.
And if you're wondering why this of all games crossed over into this, mainstream sphere, I don't think it's actually that hard to figure out. Like, The Witcher is a very popular game, and The Witcher was like it has broken into the mainstream recently with the Netflix TV series, so people kind of know about that stuff. The CD Projekt marketing machine for Cyberpunk has been relentless over the last couple of years, and even right now. Right before that game came out, there were just a cavalcade of ads with Keanu Reeves front and center talking about this cool video game, and it's like, if I'm real right now, news is fucking starved for frivolous entertainment news they can talk about because no movies are coming out. Like the albums are barely coming. Like there's not really any good entertainment industry drama right now. So if you're looking for something to latch onto and talk about like, oh, wow, this wild shit's going on in video games, this is like the perfect foil for that.
Yeah. It fills a void for sure. But we had the dip I think the stock price dipped. I don't know if it's bounced back. I haven't checked. But like you said, it sounds like sales numbers very high.
Doing okay.
It seems like they're doing all right. I hope inside the development team is doing okay as well. Mm-hmm. So let's move on to another story that's not Cyberpunk.
Yeah, these other two are just quick hits, but I'm just going to throw them out there. So you know how we've all been talking about how the PS5 is not very good at telling you whether you are playing the PS4 or a PS5 version of a video game that you might have on both platforms.
This is a real thing.
Seems crazy, but that's the reality of it all.
Yeah, well, so it's still not very good at that, but it's a little less not good at that than it used to be. Okay. There is now apparently a prompt in the PlayStation 5 UI that if you try to load up a game and it start booting up the PS4 version, there is now a prompt that will come up saying, you are about to start the PS4 version. Do you want to play the PS5 version instead?
Okay.
So they put a little Band-Aid on it. And so there is now something that at least pops up and is like, by the way, are you sure this is what you want to do? It doesn't solve the problem because the fact that there is this confusion at all, that you could be downloading the wrong version, all that stuff still feasibly an issue.
And that's the thing. Like you're basically just, retrofitting some sort of like, fail-safe. That to me is not the solution.
No,
of course.
No, this is the Band-Aid. It's like I said, this is the thing that's stopping it from gushing. It is not the thing that is actually going to heal it up.
It's almost equally as stupid.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're recognizing that something has to be done.
Yeah, but it's like working backwards, right? Like, I don't know. Look, it's better than nothing, but come on.
It'll get you through the holidays, if nothing else. But like, they really need to. They need to make some significant UI overhauls on that thing.
I guess that's probably a good point. If you're listening to this and you have kids and somehow manage to secure an Xbox or a PS5 or even a Switch, or any console, really. Here's our annual holiday PSA of you might want to plug it in, update it, and download the games, depending on your internet connection, before Christmas morning. It might be worth taking that time to set that stuff up so that Christmas morning you play the games, and that's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, pro tip right there.
Yeah, because some people, if you are blessed and have a very fast internet and can be playing a game within an hour, then good for you. Some people might be an overnight download, especially if you're like, we got you this console, the newest, hottest console, and Call of Duty. And then, then you are like, awesome. Let me download 100 gigs. When's dinner? Are people coming over? Nobody's coming over. Well, great. It's the only gift we got you because it was $500. So, yeah.
That's 6 months of college you're not going to get.
I wish 6 months of college was $500.
Yeah, I know. I never went to college. I don't know what the fuck. I know it costs too much money.
That's like two books.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, what else you got?
The last thing, it's unfortunate that the Dan Reichert and Abby Russell are no longer on the team, the two people who actually played this video game with some regularity, but maybe you'll be interested too.
I'm interested.
Stardew Valley just got a big old update.
Okay.
They just got a big old update. So they've added a new island with some late game content, if you're into that. There is now a new farm type if you start a new game, and they have added local co-op. So you can play that game locally co-op.
Great. I would love to play that with my kids. That's fun. I would like to see how that's implemented and how if they split the screen or not, or if you're bound to the same screen.
Yeah. It's like I said, I did not play a lot of Stardew. My girlfriend did play probably about 30 hours of it, but now she's so neck deep in Animal Crossing at this point that I don't imagine. Oh yeah, I don't think she'll be going back to Stardew anytime soon. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look, that is the game that got her through this year, and I am grateful for it. It got me through a lot of this year too, so I still check back in on it a couple of times a week, but I'm not an everyday player anymore.
Do you have any challenges you're trying to do
in Animal Crossing?
Yeah, like are you just doing your thing?
Other than getting the rest of my KK Slider songs and just checking out a few of the seasonal events here and there, not really. I'm just kind of there to hang out and talk to my animals.
Have a good time.
I do.
Is that it?
That's it. That's the news right now.
So there's just not a lot going on.
Which is good.
It's the holidays.
Hey, listen, I could use a break. Let's wind up 2020 and put it behind us. I don't need anything else to break, right?
Crumple that shit up into paper and set it on fire.
Sit here in a dumb room doing Rubik's cubes for the next, until 2021 shows up. And call me then.
I mean, none of your mailboxes are broken. Like, there's nothing else you want to talk about.
You mean for work? Because my work mailbox it's kind of a mess. But aside from that, let's talk a little bit about 2021 because we haven't nailed down. We're still working on schedules for our next week podcast. We're not exactly sure what that's going to be. I pinged Austin. He's busy. He does us a favor. By
you tease.
There's a lot going on.
I know. Listen, I want to say it because not to put
not even the audience, me
to you. Yeah. But I thank him every year for making the time to do it. He's got a life to lead, so we're still trying to work out schedules for that stuff. Okay, let's look at a little 2021 video game wise.
Right around the corner,
and it is actually very close. Anything coming up that tickles your fancy here? We got games like Hitman 3. That's one that I'm looking forward to. Yeah,
sure.
That's end of January, right?
It's soon. Yeah, January 20th. So that's less than a month away. If it doesn't get pushed back, who knows? We live in a COVID world. Hopefully someday a post-COVID world, but it's still a COVID world. And I think we'll be feeling the effects of that for a while, especially in development. We got. I'm very much looking forward to that. Far Cry 6, which I think is just still 2021.
I'll take your word for it. I believe you that game is coming out.
Well, it's slated for 2021. Who knows?
No, I'm just saying, like, I feel like those things sort of come along in the way that a lot of like sequels happen. So, although I did have mixed feelings on 5, more, or maybe mixed. I think everyone had mixed feelings about that game.
5?
Far Cry 5, yeah.
Oh, Far Cry 5. Jeez, sorry.
Far Cry 5. That was like the cult, right? The cult thing.
Yeah, and then the DLC or the expansion for that, which was the post-apocalypse thing. I forget what that was called.
Yes, it was just Fire World or something.
I only really played 5 with Dan on those streams. I never really played it on my own, but it was fun there.
It's funny. I did a preview of that game with Austin way back. I mean, that's probably 3 years ago now. But I do like those games. And for whatever reason, I know those games are kind of like a dime a dozen, but just maybe more the genre. But for whatever reason, Far Cry scratches an itch that I just want to have scratched.
So you're ready for more. Yeah.
Like it's normally, I feel like one of those games I might just kind of gloss over and wait to read the sort of temperature when people start ingesting it and playing it. But that's something that I'll probably start,
jump on
right
it
away. Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah. I don't know. I think I feel like I need a little something, something different from. I kind of feel the same way about Assassin's Creed, like Valhalla, though it does seem like that comfort foodie kind of thing. Like, I know what this is. I could jump in here and do this. I don't know if it's necessarily where I want to spend my time. Just probably because my time just feels so limited with games.
And it's so long, dude. It's so long. It's so long.
And I suspect Far Cry will be long. So hopefully there's something interesting in it. It has what is that actor's name that I really like?
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah. So like that could be fun. Hopefully used well. This is why I got confused because I was thinking of this game when you said Far Cry 5. Resident Evil Village is also slated for 2021, and this looks neat. This looks different.
I'm excited for this game.
Yeah,
yep.
This looks different. This is also I think this might be just next gen. I don't know if there are current gen. Sorry, Far Cry I think is current gen, but I think this one might just be next gen.
I don't think they've said anything about like previous gen versions of Resident Evil 8.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We have Horizon Forbidden West,
which we still don't know a great deal about.
Yes,
they haven't showed very much.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like kind of just reading releases here that say 21 next to them.
Well, like what are some games you're genuinely looking forward to? Because I'm like, there's really only a handful for me. Like it's like it's
the
Hitman.
Horizon one for sure, but again, we don't know a lot about it. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I would say like Hitman, like Deathloop is one that I'm certainly looking forward to, and that one seems like it probably will actually make it next year since it's already been delayed. Darkest Dungeon 2, if that ends up coming out next year, that's one I'm certainly looking forward to. But like, I don't have like a long list of games I'm like anxiously anticipating right now.
Yeah, this feels like the first time in a while where like, I mean, back, many years ago when I was always like tasked with like, find 20 games you're looking forward to and make a slideshow, like, I feel like that job's tough.
Yeah.
At this moment.
Like if Overwatch 2 comes around next year, that's great. But like, am I actually like hyped for it? Not really, like it's a game that I will play when it comes, but like, I don't need it. I guess
that Ratchet and Clank game, the new one.
Oh yeah. That one I am looking forward to. You're right.
Do we have a date on that? Oh, I mean, didn't it say holiday 2020?
I think that was the target date. Yeah.
I think it's still just 2021. There's Psychonauts 2, which I'm curious about.
Same.
I hope that game is good.
How could you not be curious at the least?
yes, at the very least.
And I love the first Psychonauts, so I'm willing to give this one a fair shake.
We'll see if God of War Ragnarok, makes its way.
I bet it doesn't.
I bet it doesn't. The whole year, you think it's a 2022, like early 2022?
I bet they start showing it next year, and I bet it's a 2022 game.
But I am excited for that. I did like that first God of War quite a bit. There's some games here that I didn't know were being made, and maybe it's just because I missed it. But there's a Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake.
I did know about that. Yes,
I did hear about that.
That's cool. I like that game a lot.
Yes, gladly replay that game.
No More Heroes 3.
Yes, they did announce that.
There's that Chorus game. Remember that? With the V instead of the U. They showed it.
Oh yeah,
the Deep Silver game.
There's that. There's the wet alien game. What the hell is that one called?
What is that one?
Scourge? Scourge. Something.
Yeah.
Whatever that game is. Yeah.
The Scourge.
It's the one with the wet alien dicks.
Yeah, wet alien dicks. I think is what it's called now. But yeah, I think I'm kind of scrolling through here. Axiom Verge 2. That could be. I could get down with that if it, again.
Hell yeah. Get that on the Switch out of the gate.
Yeah. Is there a Gran Turismo 7 announced?
There is. They announced it around the time they first started really pushing PS5 stuff, and I think it was just kind of floating in the air after that, and they were just like, "Yeah, this is not a 2020 game. We'll see you in 2021."
We'll check back soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, there'll be plenty of more announcements. But I think he might be right. There's a lot of going past middle of the year, everything's a question mark. Even I would say at this point, with everything that's going on in development, going past February or March, I think becomes a question mark of is this game coming out?
Like I think 2021, if things come together, if the COVID vaccine gets out in a major way and business is able to resume by, let's say, before the end of the first half of 2021.
Yeah.
I do think that 2021 will probably be a pretty damn good year for games. It's just, it's hard to really bank on anything right now, because even with the vaccine starting to get out there and with everything, not returning to normal, but at least like a light at the end of the tunnel starting to appear.
Right.
It still feels way too up in the air with everything. Like I wouldn't want to presume that anything was definitely going to happen in 2021 until we're well past this, like you said.
I would like to hear, at some point, even if there's a GDC or otherwise, I would love to hear the development stories from this and and how this is, and what's the difference between a project that was in its last year, a project that's in the middle of it, and a project that's at the very beginning, and how that affects development. Because it's
if you want to find out of all three, you should just ask the Halo Infinite team.
So, I'll watch that documentary buried somewhere on there. I think my biggest one is that Ratchet and Clank game. I think that's probably the one I don't think there's anything magical about it. I think the way they're doing it seems smart. It seems beautiful. It seems like it could be a lot of fun. It seems like it seems like a thing that you'd want to play on your next generation console and say this
totally.
I think there is something that feels for lack of a better word, very big about that game. Meaning, it just there seems to it's like the most heavy, the most weighted Ratchet and Clank, if that makes any sense.
Well, they haven't made a new one of those in a long time, you know. And there was the remake of the first one, but they haven't like made a full-on Ratchet sequel in quite a while.
And I do get a vibe from that game that it just feels, again, maybe the wrong word, but like a kind of mature. I'm not saying, you know, we're going to see naughty bits and like blood and guts spilled everywhere.
Ratchet's going to cuss for the first time.
Ratchet's just like, press start, motherfucker. You know, it's not going to be like that, but I do think.
Not like Jak and Daxter 2.
It just seems to be, you know, like, for whatever reason, you know, like you would watch a cartoon on TV and then they made the movie version of that cartoon and you went to the theater and you saw The Simpsons and whatever it is.
Yes,
like,
I went to the theaters to see the DuckTales movie. I know what you're talking about.
Yes, exactly. And you were like, this is the same thing, but something's better and different. And I just get that vibe over what I've seen of that game. I know it's like a really, you know, silly analogy, but
it's also one of the only games coming up right now that feels like one of the big tent poles for the new hardware. You know, as much as there are great games that seem like they are on the horizon, very few of them are first party games that are designed to make you feel good about the hardware you just spent $500 on. You know, it's like Halo is holiday at best. Ratchet is probably holiday at best. There's Gran Turismo and Forza on the horizon. Those will come around eventually. But like, there isn't a huge volume of other stuff that is like visible right now. Like we know Fable's in development. We know that like God of War is in development, but like nothing has really been seen of those. We don't know what like, you know, fucking Sucker Punch or any of these, like what is Obsidian's first big Microsoft only thing going to be that isn't, you know, fucking Starfield or whatever those, you know, those other RPGs they've already been making are like, or sorry, I was thinking Bethesda, but also they are Microsoft now too. Yes. And so now it is actually all under the same fucking, but like, what is Obsidian's first big Microsoft project going to be? Do we know that?
I don't know. And I think you have a good point of like, I think if you're hankering, if you're salivating for that next gen fix, I don't know if Miles Morales and Demon Souls are the ones, how long those hold people over, right? If you're like, this is cool and these look very good. I will say Destiny 2 on PS5 is very nice. And
I heard it's great.
Yeah, it's actually been probably the thing that I'm most impressed playing so far, but I have not played Demon Souls on PS5, which I guess I should also do that. Man, pocketbooks.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of it for the news. I don't know if anything else is breaking right now. Like I said, I'm kind of glad it's a little slower. I think everybody can use some decompression. Nothing's exploding. I mean, unless you're at CD Projekt
Everything's
Red.
Exploding, but right now. Yeah.
Right. You know, and again, I think I'll just say this about Cyberpunk. I think people are able to enjoy that game. And if you are, you know, bless you. And that's great. But what a mess that whole thing became, huh? That's you don't like to see it. Because I think it makes the whole thing.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. It makes the whole industry a worse place when that stuff happens.
Yes. It's just a bummer.
It's a bummer.
General bummer.
I mean, I think we all wanted that game to be amazing. I certainly
totally. I would have wanted it to be amazing. You know, maybe that not at the human cost that it would have taken for it to actually turn out to be amazing. But you know,
I actually shorted it.
You wanted it to be terrible.
I wanted it to crash and burn, and
you're the one. You're the one.
That's it. Sorry, I
congratulations, Jeff Eckler, the new owner of CD Projekt.
They sent you. Yes. I remember that they sent you review code like for PS5, as Series X, and the PC years ago, and you're like, what if you made a PS4 version? what if you brought this to I think you could do this.
What if you just like handed out like a shell of a game on those?
What if this was just garbage?
What if it were?
Keep talking, Bacala. We're picking up what you're putting down.
What if you expand the scope of this and just kind of reach beyond a little bit? Just go a little bit further.
What if none of this worked?
Is that the real punk? Isn't that what a punk would do?
We're mean, but no. we're having fun.
All right, we're gonna be right back. We're gonna wrap this one up, and then we're gonna get to the emails and finish up this episode and get ready for a little break. So hang tight. And we are back on this here Giant Beastcast. Probably a shorter show this week.
You wearing your wedding ring around the house?
You know what? I'm not wearing my wedding ring around the house right now.
I'm not either.
Me either.
Oh my gosh, all three of us. The three of us are no longer married to each other.
And you know what?
What?
Keep your voices down.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I know where mine is.
Okay, I know where mine is. That's
It's fine. It's like a $50 piece of metal. But
no sentimental value at all. No, I took it off. I took it off one time when I was doing the dishes because I take it off because sometimes it smashes against the glass. And I'm like, that's gonna break. So I took it off when I was doing the dishes, and I was like,
and that was it.
I just didn't. I just didn't put it back on. I was like, no, now I can gain as much weight as I want. I never have to worry about it. It was the only thing that was keeping me bound to trying to not gain as much weight as humanly possible, and I removed that obstacle, so I'm free to go.
I mean, is that how it works in your body makeup? All the weight goes straight to your ring finger?
Well, it's the scariest part, probably, because it's like, oh, is this ring ever coming off? I don't know. That's gotta keep that. Yeah, keep those sausages, my finger sausages, on and off. No, I took it off because of doing the dishes, and it's like one of those things of. I mean, I also haven't worn my watch in like 6 months, my wristwatch, because that's
also time's not real anymore.
Time is unreal. So it's one of those things of like, oh, okay, put it back on, get dressed, put my watch on, got my ring on, got all my stuff and ready to go, leave the house. But who leaves the house either? So don't know.
Not me.
I just caught a glance at my finger and I was just like, oh, right.
Uh-oh.
Weird.
Uh-oh. It's one of those things where like when I leave the house every once in a while, it's like, where the hell are my keys? I haven't seen those in a while.
I shit you not. I went like 4 weeks without even knowing where my wallet was. I was just like,
it's weird
what the fuck's that? So, that's another personal story that's like so frustrating. So I'm not going to do it. But anyway.
Okay.
I'll say it. We got another show before the end of the year. Save it.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to send an email, you can send it to beastcast@giantbomb.com. That is beastcast@giantbomb.com. Backlar, we got a lot of Pokemon emails.
Bad.
I pulled a couple here. This one is peripheral related to your Pokemon story. Why don't you take this one from David?
Happy holidays, Beasterinos. Right back at you, David. Last week, Jeff mentioned the problems his friend had where his Pokemon cards ended up going to a completely different person. My question is if you've had the opposite happen and you received a package for someone else that you couldn't easily just walk down a few doors or streets to drop it off, right? Like a misdelivered package around in your neighborhood or something. I recently got a set of 4 MTG cards. I don't know what that
Magic
is.
the Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
I know what that is. In the mail that were for someone in the UK, but ended up inside a box for something else I ordered. For reference, I live in the Midwest and the cards were inside a sealed envelope addressed to someone in the UK inside another package entire. What the hell does that happen?
I don't know.
It seemed wild to me at the time. How could this happen? But I haven't seen them back yet. I haven't sent them back yet. It didn't help that I mistakenly opened it thinking it was a pack-in before realizing they weren't even supposed to be mine. Well, look, karma's not real. So no. One, that is true, but two, I
just want to make sure that you do know that.
I just want you to know karma's a fictional force that does not govern the universe. But look, is it the right thing to do? Yeah, the right thing to do is sending it back. Or at least getting in touch with this person. Hopefully you still have their address and you can kind of do it. But like, I've received things I shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
It happens. Look, I think you have to like weigh the gravity of the mistake, right? Mm-hmm. Like, did you get an extra carton of milk in the order, or did you get $5,000 of cash wrapped up in your envelope, right? Like, you gotta weigh all that.
Weird. They're taped up in bricks too. It's very strange
and covered in cocaine. Look, I get it. Like, To me, that's the thing, right? Like, would somebody know this is missing?
Let me,
yes.
They would know the money's missing. They wouldn't maybe know about the carton.
Let me give you some scenarios. Maybe let's make it easier.
Sure. Let's play this.
Let's play this game because I'll use examples from my life that have happened.
Okay, good.
Okay, so let's say you order something from a online retailer like Amazon, and it's about like $100 thing, and it's for you, and it's a small thing, and they send you 2 of them.
What is it?
Christmas ornament. It's like a silver Christmas.
You paid $100 for a fucking.
Nah,
Christmas
it was like
they're pretty expensive, but yeah.
Yeah, it was like $60 or $70. But yeah, it was like.
Is it the one with my face? Did you buy the one with my face?
No, those are not that expensive. But like, it's a Christmas ornament.
You get 2 of them.
It's like a sterling silver Christmas ornament, and they send you 2.
Oh, sterling silver, sure. Look, here's the deal. Okay, what matters is there's so many like little variables, so much context that is calculated into the decision-making process. I would say in my experience with Amazon, I have reached out and been like, yo, you sent me another one of these. And they're like, keep it.
Oh, okay.
Right? They've said keep it.
It's easier for them not to take it back.
Like what are they, like it's a pain in the ass. So in that situation, I'd probably do the chat with them, with the customer service.
Would you go
for this specific?
Well, for Amazon, I went right to the retailer. I went, because it's like a third party in the Amazon system.
Yeah, I mean, if it's, I don't know.
I sent it back.
You sent it back.
Okay. Here's my strict policy.
I would have told somebody. Yeah.
This is my strict policy that I have always adhered to, which is that if I receive something that is just a package for another person, it has their name on it, it's the wrong address, or they put my address instead of theirs, I will at least go the mile to try and see if that is a person I have access to. Like if I can get a hold of them, let them know I have their package, or I can tell the sender, hey, you sent us to the wrong place. Where should I send it back to? I will do that. If it's a corporation that has fucked up by either sending me too many of a thing or a thing I did not ask for, I don't fucking care.
You're right. You're
I don't open it right up and then just keep it. Like I wait around to see if they ask for it, and if they don't, then what? So the best example of this I got several years ago. Verizon sent me an iPhone, and it was out of nowhere. I don't use Verizon. I had an iPhone that was perfectly functional at the time. I never asked for this, and I don't remember if the box had my name on it or not, but it definitely had my address. And at the time I was like, this seems like a big one. So I'm actually going to message Verizon. So I called them and I was like, hey, I got this phone. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with it. And the customer service person was very blasé about it. He was like, oh, you got a phone? All right. Yeah, I don't know why you got that. I guess send it back. That was it. That was the conversation.
No shipping label or something?
Well, they were like, yeah, I guess we can send you a label and you can send it back, whatever. And I looked at it and it was like, it wasn't like the latest model or anything, but it was still like a, several $100 phone. So I didn't send it back.
You didn't.
I didn't because they didn't seem to give a shit. And guess what? There was
customer service person didn't give a shit.
There was zero follow-up. They never asked. They never bothered with it. It's just I had this phone, and you know what? I don't think I even ever opened that thing. It just sat in a box.
That's okay. Now that's just like on the other side. I needed to get a new phone.
You wouldn't want this one. It's pretty old.
Mine's a 6. Is that where is that on the scale? That's
I think
you don't have a 6.
5.
You have more. You have a
5.
What you are obsessed with displaying how antiquated your technology.
I'm so proud of it.
You're like, look at this. It's an abacus.
You guys got the
just
flip,
a bunch
flip
of
phone?
Bunch of little pegs, little.
How do you know what the phone is?
You have to go into the settings, don't you?
You have to cut it. You have to cut it in half and count the rings.
A1549.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
A1549. Not at all.
You have a more modern phone. You're just being a dick about it.
Why? No, I'm not. Why would I be a dick about it? I do have to get a new one.
I remember when we were back in the olden times, when we were back in the office, and you show me your phone, and you like got a new phone. You're like, look, it's like the 9 or 10 or something.
I think it's a 6.
Mine is a 6 Plus. Mine is a 6 Plus.
Yeah. Oh God, both of you guys.
Yeah, we're killing it.
Struggling.
Oh no, I said next year. Next year is going to be my upgrade because
just came out the 12.
I know. Well, they skipped one number, but the other thing is that the 5G phones are out, but also there's no 5G coverage with iPhone stuff yet. So I'm waiting.
Right. Well, now there is, right?
Well, there will be next year too. So I'll just get whatever next year's model is. It's fine.
Oh wait,
that's a good move.
Yeah, my phone is it's time. I think that's a good distinction. If it is addressed to someone else, definitely I'm gonna try not to open it, and I will try to get it back to return to sender or something else. If it was a mistake on the part of a company, I usually reach out, especially if it's a small company. If it's like a mom and pop thing, then they were just like oops, like I buy a bunch of toys and stuff like that, and it's like a small, another person in his basement, also sending out stuff and be like, hey, you sent me stuff, it's the wrong thing. Or like an eBay purchase, I will contact them. A mega chain, it probably depends on the value.
In 2004, I was buying my first HD TV, and I had just graduated college, and it was a big deal. And I did all this research, and I found the TV I wanted, and the refurbished one was like $800 cheaper. So I was just like, screw it, I'm getting this factory refurbished one. I'm gonna do that. I ordered a 30-inch LCD, which
back then I'm sure was just like baller.
It was, maybe 32. It was definitely, and it was something insane, like $1,200 or something. And what came in the mail was a 47-inch
brand new TV.
No, well, presumably used, because it had like the sharp, packaging kind of.
But that's 15 inches, man.
Yeah.
And that's like way larger and way more. And I did not say a word.
Nor should you.
You kept, and you never.
I mean,
and they never came after you.
No, nothing ever happened. I mean, at that point, you bought the thing, you got the thing. It was bigger than what you were supposed to get.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you order a thing and a different product comes.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel I've had a lot of actually very good experiences when somebody sends me the wrong thing, and it's a small, like it's a person interacting with you, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, how can I do like this was supposed to go to this guy in Ohio, and I sent it to the wrong person, and I have limited stock, and like one time somebody sent me like a make good thing, and I was like, you don't have to, and like thank you. I think there is actually something very nice about other people, at least being like, there are honest people in the world.
Sure.
They're not going to screw me over.
There's a few.
And keeping that circle going. All right.
Not me, though.
Pick and choose your honesty, though. You got to pick and choose.
At Amazon directly, Jeff Bezos does not need your honesty. Don't worry.
Yeah, Verizon does not need my honesty.
No. Okay. This one came in. I just want to clarify because I actually got multiple of these. This one comes in from Harith. It says, question for Vinny. Did you ever manage to get your daughter's PlayStation account unbanned? If yes, how long did it take? And what was the overall experience like? We had another email that was like, this happened to me, my kid's account. It did eventually get unbanned. It took a couple of weeks, actually. They said they were going to send out a thing when I did the chat. That didn't happen for a while. And then eventually I was about ready to initiate another customer service thing. And I got the change the password email. And I did that, and then the account seemed to be unbanned. Very little fanfare. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but that it did get unbanned. Thank goodness. She can go on to be a pro gamer. Alex, can you read this one anonymously here?
Sure thing. This anonymous question says, hey, motherfuckers, I'm drunk as shit. You're awesome. Which season of Kids in the Hall has the best opening? Please discuss. God. That is all. Also, this question is probably for Alex. The answer to that question is actually relatively easy. It's season 4. That's the one where they're having the big warehouse party, and everyone it just seems like the coolest party that's ever happened in Canada. So you want to be there, and that's the one for me.
Okay, season 4.
Shit. I can recall tons of those sketches, but I don't recall the opening sequences at all.
Yeah, most of them are just flashes of fucking Kevin McDonald getting a haircut, or like this Dave Foley standing in front of a street somewhere in Toronto. But that's the one where they shot a bunch of B-roll in some warehouse in Toronto with a bunch of people having a party, and the shadowy men on a shadowy planet are playing. So,
well, I'm glad we can answer that question decisively.
Isn't something coming back?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I'm gonna need more information.
What do you think I'm talking about? Related to Kids in the Hall?
I don't know. As far as I know, no. They did that limited series back in the early 2010s for, I want to say, I don't remember which network, but they did like a limited series thing. I think there was talk of a reboot, but I don't know if that actually happened or not.
I just pulled up a Variety story from March.
Okay.
It says Kids in the Hall revival set at Amazon, which I mean, a Variety headline about a reboot you can probably take with a grain of salt, but
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised they were talking about it because Amazon sure does love to throw money at stuff just because they can. And you know, it's not like that hasn't like what is it? Mr. Show had that reboot at Netflix, the With Bob and David 6-episode series, which was, you know, close enough to Mr. Show, if not actually that. They've talked about doing stuff like that before, so I could see it, but you know, COVID happened. So
COVID happened. It says they did order 8 episodes.
Okay. Well, you know, maybe next year sometime that'll actually come to fruition.
We will see.
Maybe that will have the coolest intro. I don't know, but right now it's season 4.
What are your feelings on The State, Alex?
I haven't watched it in a while. I liked it a lot when I was a kid.
Okay.
I've liked a lot of the offshoot series that have come from the various alumni of The State. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I went back and a lot of that show actually didn't hold up super well. But like some of the more memorable sketches I still love.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with Alex. I think as a comedic troupe or whatever you want to call those people, I think they're probably among the most successful. Like, in history,
I think they definitely had one of the best like post the show that made them popular. Like volley of careers. Like not everyone that was on The State became super famous, but like, you know, there was the Stella guys, there was the whole Reno 911 set, you know, like they've intermingled at various times, but you know, like there's just the whole branches of comedy came out of that.
I mean, you just have to say Wet Hot American Summer and that's all you need to say. But you know, that is more of like a cult thing. You look at like, you know, people like Thomas Lennon and Robert Ben-Garant, like they've written all those movies and they're like script doctors, and
Joe Latrulio has gone on to a very successful sitcom career.
They are, I mean, it is pretty wild how much success they've all collectively and independently have had.
Yeah.
I'm going to read this one here from Mr. Ben Show. And this is on the heels of the Pokemon card extravaganza story that you told last week. Bacalar says, as someone who's been collecting Pokemon cards my whole life, and as I've gotten older, have been making videos opening cards and discussing Pokemon prices. There's a sentence there. I may have misread it. I also sell them, and it helps pay for groceries every week and also feeds the habit of opening more cards. But I just wanted to throw out some prices of where the Pokemon market is currently. Now, I was incredulous at some of the prices you were talking about, Bacalar, so...
And just wait.
In the same week as the podcast discussion, a major auction happened, setting the bar for the market. A lot of this might sound like gibberish to people who don't know what the different monikers are, but the numbers are what's important. Are we ready? Oh man, people have so much money. Okay. BGS graded 10, Shadowless first edition Charizard. Okay, that's clear enough, right? A BGS graded 10, Shadowless first edition Charizard.
Well,
so
what's Shadowless?
I think there's a border. I think there's a border on some of the first edition ones, and there's like that border has a shadow sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't.
Got it.
I think that's right. Sold for $350,000. Now, just a second here. $350,000. And I don't assume this is made up or an error here. Over $250,000.
Yeah, I didn't even flinch. What's up?
Didn't even flinch.
No, because I took a crash course in this last week.
Would you, if you got this in the mail, would you return it?
It would come with a hefty finder's fee.
It would come with a note written from cutout newspaper that says
come with old finger in the mail.
If you want to see your Charizard again, drop me this payment. All right, I'm gonna skip this next one. We'll come back to it. A sealed first edition Neo Destiny booster box.
Is that Pokemon? That's Pokemon?
I don't know. It didn't say
whatever
Pokemon.
it is.
Neo Destiny might be one of the additions. I'm not sure. But it's the booster box sold for $49,405. A sealed first edition Neo Genesis booster box sold for $38,100. And taking the cake in this list here, an SGC graded 10 Shadowless first edition Charizard. So this is different than the BGS graded 10. This is graded by SGC. That sold for $369,000.
It's funny. My buddy was like, he plays the market. He buys a lot of, stocks and whatnot. He's like, you know what the best investment I did in the last 20 years? Stealing boxes of Pokemon cards from my freaking high school job. That's the biggest payoff I've had. Oh boy,
crime pays, huh?
It
really does.
Like, I wonder how much they were back then, but
not that much.
Yeah, no. Right? Like, well, how much in 1997 or 8? How much was a Pokemon box of cards?
Like a full box.
$50, $50.
I bet that maybe 100 at most.
Right?
Yeah,
for a box.
I'd say probably like 80 or something like that. For like what's in a box? Like 24 sealed packs or something.
Maybe
something
12
like that,
or 24. Yeah. It's unbelievable to me. Like. But yeah, that's value. That's
$300, almost $370,000.
And now there's all these like celebrities and musicians and people getting in on it. It's just
collecting stuff is stressful and sucks. Don't do it.
I mean, it's cool.
There was a
I still think it's cool though. I do enjoy this, watching this happen from afar. It's fun.
There was a poster that somebody sent me. Casey Malone sent me this poster from Mondo. That was this Transformers poster. It was a Optimus Prime for the movie. It was very cool. Listen, I have a lot of posters and tubes. I don't need another poster necessarily, but it was like, oh, okay. And I happened to sit down at the computer today at the time it went on sale. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'll go check it out. I'm actually at this right in the right place at the right time. I was like, oh my gosh, it's still for sale. It's not sold out. Because I had messaged him, was like, is this one of those like sell out in 5 minutes things? He's like, yeah, totally. But I was like, oh my gosh, added it to cart. By the time I hit checkout, sold out. And I was like, I wish I had never loved at all. Now this thing that I wasn't, it's for the best. It's a thing would sit in a poster tube. But I felt like it was taken away from me. They got me. They got me.
I got you.
And then do I want this? And then I got over it very quickly until I told it here. And now those feelings came back up. Anyway, Mr. Ben Show says, many more items broke price records. As someone who's been collecting cards since I was 3 in 1998, finding out what Pokemon was through Japanese packs from a mall kiosk a year before the English cards or before the games came out to the States. I would have never thought these funny-looking monsters on holofoil or this angry orange dragon would have ever been worth the same price as a house. As a house, maybe not in the greater New York or New Jersey area, but as a house. A house. It's not really a question email, but just wanted to spark more conversation about Pokemon cards because I really enjoyed your guys' thoughts on the last one. It's amazing. It's
wild stuff.
It's amazing. $370,000. I think that's do companies go in on this? Is it like a group of people that go in on these things as an investment, or are these individuals usually? I don't know how this works.
I think a lot of times it is individuals. It's just people with money who are just like, all right, this is my dumb collection. I had made my millions. Here you go.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. It's an investment.
I think that's the thing that stops me is that I don't want investments. I want if I collect things, I want things that I don't ever have to think about what they're worth ever again. They're worth it to me to have them, and that's all that fucking matters.
Then collect Transformers. I mean,
well, why do you think I collect physical media? Like this Blu-ray I own of the fucking Fast series is not going to appreciate in value, and that's just fine by me. I get to see Vin Diesel any fucking time I want. That's all I need.
The origin for all of these collections comes from that same good place. It is when they become these commodities is when they leave.
Yeah, we've also We've all seen Lord of the Rings. We know what happens to Gollum. As soon as you start to overvalue the things that you possess, they destroy you and turn you into a monster.
Yeah, but that ring's pretty fucking cool though. It turns you invisible. There's only one of it. I gotta collect the rest of the 9 of the other rings though before I get this one. So I'm looking on eBay. If you see any of them go up, the 9 rings of men, let me know. I've got.
Speaking of which, things I'm doing over the break. I'm finally gonna watch this on 4K. I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do it. Oh wow!
I didn't know there was a 4K version.
They just put it out. So here's the thing: if you care about the extras, which I don't as much, wait until next year because this version they put out doesn't have any of the extras from the Blu-ray sets or anything. The 4K versions of those are coming next year.
I don't think I could buy that series again. I think I've got the. I think somehow I have it on VHS as well. I don't think I could. I don't think I could possibly get this thing again.
I'm not sure there's really much more they can squeeze out of those movies beyond this one. I think this might be it.
Yeah, I want to see a couple of those CG scenes, what those are looking like.
Oh, I think, did they touch them up at all, or they're just
so I think they fixed the color grading from Fellowship that was on the Blu-ray, where everything looked a little too green. I think they made that not the case. I don't know if they've really. What I read from the Peter Jackson interview was we didn't change any of the effects. We just made those effects look like they were done now. Like it's just we used processes. Well, no, like the core effects, like the assets are all the same. I think they just revamped a couple of the processes here and there. I don't know.
The goofiest thing is always in I think it's Return of the King, the last one, where like Legolas is
on the elephant
sliding down that elephant thing, just looking like a freaking cartoon character. All goofy.
It looks like somebody made like an animated GIF you'd put up today on like like cut out. It's like that what's that sliding into the ring one with the wrestler Alex, where everybody he slides in and then tackles somebody. That famous one that definitely you know about. It's
probably Stone Cold or something, right?
Randy Orton. He kind of just goes in there and it jumps in a ring. No,
you're really describing a wide swath of the medium, so I can't really hone in on it for you. But
it's John Cena. He runs into a ring and slams. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, John Cena does a lot of that. Not so much these days.
Backlar, let's take this last email here and we'll just wrap this up.
Okay. Good day, casters that satiate the beast. This is a good one. Yeah. Guys, is cereal one of our most I'm sorry, guys, is cereal one of our most beloved breakfast time traditions, technically a soup or a cold stew? Depending on your ratio of milk to cereal, I could see it going either way, but what are your thoughts on this highly important classification matter? Look,
no,
cold stew is not a phrase that anyone says.
No, here's why it's not either. Is that the whole point of soup? It's not just that it's a wet thing you spoon out of a bowl. There's a cooking process. There's a melding of flavors that takes place in the soup making or stew making process. Just pouring a liquid over a solid in a bowl does not a soup make.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to tell you.
You're exactly right. And don't be calling it a stew either, because that implies some work.
Well, what is it? Is it suspension of oats? What is?
No, it's just like cereal.
Well, no, it's what he said. It's a suspension of oat-like substance.
I mean, like, what's oatmeal?
It's
wet.
It's oatmeal. It's oatmeal. It's just oatmeal. Like, cereal doesn't, in my opinion, cereal keeps its name whether or not it's submerged in milk.
So it's either dry cereal or cereal
or wet or milk cereal.
You know what it is? It's human kibble, and that's fine. We can accept it for what it is. It is a bowl of kibble that fills us up. I don't know if I did or not, but that's what it is. It's a fucking little bowl that you put out in front of a person and be like, all right, well, I don't feed you for the rest of the day, and that's it.
Your dog puts it in front of your face and goes, the only thing separating you and me is this fucking spoon, and that's it.
And the law. Okay, what if you poured Cheerios on top of a soup? Does that become cereal, or is it still?
Well, then you just go to prison.
Yeah, that's just like a soup accoutrement. Like you could do that to like you have like you've had matzo ball soup where you like pour in the nuts in it.
Yeah, or just like those oyster crackers you put on the
hell yeah, like a nice clam chowder.
You just made me realize I've not had matzo ball soup in a very long time, and suddenly I really want
Alex,
some.
You live in fucking Queens, dude. It runs in the pipes.
Pandemic.
Yeah, you're allowed to order it in. You can order it in.
there are no Jewish delis in my neighborhood.
Well, here's your problem.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal in Queens, by the way. You might want to check out some city ordinance.
You had a matzo ball stuck in your pipe. That's that's why you're not getting the hot water today.
If there are any, I don't know where they are, and they don't deliver to me. So I cannot get my piping hot matzo ball delivered to my home.
Yeah, right matzo ball stuck in the cold water pipe and a falafel stuck in the hot water pipe. So there's your problem there. Too much good food coming in.
Was that knish coming up through the toilet?
Oh man, I haven't had a knish in a while. Hell yeah. I mean,
Queens and knishes too, dude. Again, I realize pandemic, but
what is the so I probably asked you this last year because I haven't been to Queens in a while. But what is the current food vibe in Queens? Is it Greek? What is the
it's
Russian?
A lot of Greek. It's a lot of Greek. It's the one really good Russian restaurant we had closed a few years ago because it was just a pet project of like a semi-famous chef, and it was just like it was in the middle of fucking nowhere, but like the food was amazing. Yeah, it's still a lot of Greek. It's a lot of pizza places. You're seeing some stuff branch out. Like there's now like a couple of good Korean places in the neighborhood. Still a lot of good Japanese restaurants around as well, because there's actually a pretty significant Japanese population in my neighborhood.
It's like the amazing thing about Astoria, Long Island City, is I feel like it like flows. There's like a the food cuisine there flows with the immigrant population, and it's amazing. Like every few years, it kind of changes over a bit, which makes it an incredible place to live because you get just kind of amazing small town, or not small town, but like mom and pop food from
the thing that really bums me out is that my two favorite diners have now closed. One closed right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I remember walking by there and they had a notice post and it's like, you owe $40,000 in rent, and that was like a month and a half into the pandemic, so whatever was happening there was not good.
That notice was on the door?
It was on the door.
Oh man, that sucks.
And the other one, the one I used to go to all the time, which was like kind of the cheap, not shitty, but like, not particularly fancy diner that I would go to for breakfast, they just closed. And I'm like, bummed.
Which one was that?
Light Bites.
Oh, that's a good name. That's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that.
And look, other stuff will crop up hopefully when all this is done. It's just, it's sad to lose the places that you went to as your comfort places in the mornings when you needed coffee and good food.
Yeah, it stinks. On the opposite side of that, I was shocked to see that my local pinball retro arcade is still operating. And
Jeff, I can't eat a pinball machine. I can't do it. It doesn't help me.
You can try.
It is comfort food in another way. It won't provide any caloric value, but a nostalgic value, it certainly will.
I can't make my stomach stop growling on nostalgia. That's not how this works.
I can. Have you seen the shelf behind me? It works. Listen,
he started to eat.
He's eating those Transformers.
they're delicious.
He hasn't actually left that basement in 6 months.
They call down every once in a while, and I grumble back. That's gonna do it for this week's show. Thanks, Jeff and Alex, for joining me. Thanks for recording here on this Tuesday. If you are celebrating this coming Christmas, Merry Christmas to you, and happy holiday season. Hopefully, if you are celebrating something during the holiday season or have some time off or some way to decompress from 2020, do it. Take it if you can. Do it. Take it if you can do it. To get that time if you can. Otherwise, best of luck with everything. And let's put this one behind us. So we have bit of a weird schedule coming up. Obviously, if you're listening to this and you don't know, we will not be quote unquote in the office next week. We will be the office will be closed. I think we will have some people doing some stuff, Alex Navarro being one of them. Possibly, listen, it's your time off. Do what you want, but you might be doing something next week.
I'm gonna do some drumming. That's it. That's nothing fancy.
Some other stuff popping up. We will have a couple of pre-recorded things go up. Alex and I recorded some stuff. Ben Pack and I recorded some stuff. And then all of us recorded that worst song of the 90s thing, which could have been a 7-hour long episode of something, but we reined it in.
I love that. Such a good idea.
No spoilers or anything, but we got like 35 songs deep into that list, and it feels like we barely scratched the surface.
Oh my gosh, we could have gone forever. I think you had about 30 songs on your list ish.
I had 30 and I only got to name 4 of them, so that should tell you where I ended up.
Yeah, it's a fun one. We take some audience suggestions as well, so look for that next week as well. Again, our Beastcast plans, we're still figuring those out. We will have a show, just not sure exactly what it is. There will be a bombcast for next week. Woo! Woo! Wrap it up.
You have a trial, right? You still have a trial going too. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm on trial for crimes.
Your
Horizon
crime,
finally found me, and now I'm going to prison.
Your soup crime are worth a dime, I think.
We still have thank you, Jeff. We still have the extended free trial for Giant Bomb going on. You can check that out. More details on the site if you are interested in that. If you're not a premium subscriber already, you can get in on the extended free trial.
And you're going to let me build you a keyboard soon.
I have a keyboard, but I will watch you build a keyboard. I have in excess. My keyboard cup runneth over.
It's going to be yours. And when you come and drop off the clothes that you have for me.
For your son.
I'm going to.
Okay.
Well, but indirectly me. I'm going to put it in your trunk. And,
did you
that with a mask on? Don't worry.
Yeah, snowsuits. That's a good one to get.
Love them.
Yeah, I gotta see if there's any in there. Those
you do any sledding? Did you do any sledding?
We did some sledding. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you should start the music.
Yeah, I'm gonna start the music.
Start it,
Alex.
I gave you all this runway. I don't understand. Come on.
How do you know? Maybe it's been started already. You don't know. Maybe the volume's just been down this whole time.
Okay.
Oh no, I hear harmonica now, so I know.
Okay. Thanks everybody for listening this year and for sticking with us this year, and I will just say for all the donations that happened this year and the charity that happened this year. Thanks everybody who was able to donate and give in this year. That was a real banger of one. I don't think there's anybody who has not been affected one way or another with the 2020. Thank you, Jeff McElaren. Thank you, Alex Navarro.
Thank you.
Game of the year will happen in January. Tell your friends. If you haven't heard already, it will be happening next year. We'll be playing some games. We'll be around. I'm sure some people will be, again, streaming on social media and the whatnot. You're right. Now I have 10 seconds to kill. I'm very thankful for being able to continue to do this with everybody remotely. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So thanks everybody for listening. Thanks you guys for being on the show. And thanks for everybody being a part of the Giant Bomb family. We'll be back in some form or another next week.
And thank you for driving.
You got it.